The views and opinions expressed in this video are solely those of the Fat Bearded Vinyl Guy and should not be taken seriously by sane people.
Hello Vinyl Nation, I am Matt the Fat Bearded Vinyl Guy, and it's a somber tone in the vinyl layer today because Tuesday we lost one of the greats. Edward Van Halen lost his battle with cancer at the age of 65. Now, when I heard the news, I had already put the finishing touches on my segment for the fan show, and since I don't have a time restraint on my regular YouTube channel, I can put a complete set of thoughts together here, and put my whole feelings and reactions on display for you. Now today I'm going to do a top 5 list of my favorite Van Halen albums. Now I know there's a trend among music nerds like myself, the ongoing debate between David Lee Roth and the Sammy Hagar versions of Van Halen. To this I say, shut up. You can have your preference, just don't tell me what to think. For the record, there are more Diamond Dave era albums than Red Rocker era albums on this list, but whatever. I enjoy both. If you don't, well, that's your problem. Now, I know what you're thinking. That is not a Van Halen record. Gold star. Michael Jackson's Thriller gets the honorable mention here because Eddie Van Halen played the guitar solo on Beat It. Believe it or not, Eddie was not paid for the contribution. He later said he did it as a favor, and the rest of Van Halen and their management thought he was crazy for doing it. I love it. It's a great genre crossover, and some critics even say that it opened the door to the Run DMC and Aerosmith collaboration in 1986, and that in turn opened the door to acts like the Beastie Boys and Kid Rock. Van Halen's 1982 album Diver Down is not one of the Van Halen brothers' favorite, mostly because it was rushed due to pressure from the label. The band wanted to take a break, but David Lee Roth said, hey, we should just put out a single. Dave wanted to do Dancin' in the Streets, but Eddie couldn't get the feel of the song. So instead they did the Roy Orbison song Pretty Woman, and they recorded that instead. Then the single starts racing up the charts, and then the label suddenly wants a full album. The whole thing was done in 12 days in March of 1982, and the album was out in mid-April. 5 of the 12 tracks are covers, including the aforementioned Pretty Woman, Dancing in the Streets, after Eddie obviously figured out how to do it, and Happy Trails, an a cappella song done in their 1977 demo sessions. I first heard this album after I 5-finger discounted the cassette from my brother. Sorry, Mike. The first album of the Sammy Hagar era comes in at number 4. So what's the significance of the number 5150? Well, the album was named after Eddie's home studio, which in turn is named after Section 5150 of the California Welfare and Institutions Code. It refers to a mentally disturbed person who poses a threat to themselves or others. The band considered bringing in different guest singers to replace David Lee Roth, and the label even wanted them to completely drop the Van Halen name. Spoiler alert, they didn't. They found Sammy Hagar because Sammy and Eddie had the same mechanic. No, really. Eddie's mechanic was working on his Lamborghini, and he suggested the former Montrose frontman and solo artist. The supporting tour must have been slightly awkward because Sammy Hagar was uncomfortable singing Diamond Dave era Van Halen songs. The live set was limited to the 5150 album and some of Sammy's solo hits like I Can't Drive 55. My brother also had this one, but on CD, and I only made a dubbed copy of this one. The swan song of the David Lee Roth era comes in at number 3. Even though 1984 is certified diamond with the RIAA with 10 million copies sold in the US, it was never a number 1 album. Although the album never got to number 1, this album did produce the band's first number 1 song, Jump. This synth-heavy rocker is a fun song. In fact, it's so fun you almost forget that the song was inspired by David Lee Roth seeing a news report of a man threatening to jump off a skyscraper. This is one of those albums where every track is phenomenal. Name me a bad song on this album. I'll wait. Okay, Jump Panama and Hot for Teacher are pure party songs. Even the album tracks are great. Hands down a must-have for your collection. 1991's For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge came out while I was in high school, and the juxtaposition of new music in a time period where I was still finding my way through the musical jungle puts this album in a special place in my heart. That said, come on, Pound Cake is one hell of an opener. Eddie playing his guitar with a power drill? Who does that? Even in the middle of the solo! Run Around and Top of the World are other fun cuts on this album. I remember listening to this album over and over and over again in those formidable years. Naturally, Van Halen 1 would be number 1. The first time I heard this album was this very record when I picked it up back in 1993. The solo Eruption was not originally slated for the album. It was only going to be played live. But producer Ted Templeman heard Eddie rehearsing it before a show and insisted that it be put on the album. Now, you may not hear it, and I certainly don't hear it, but Eddie insisted that he made a mistake in there. Either way, it is one of the greatest guitar solos committed to tape. Is there a bad song on this album? I don't think so. Now, a while back, I did a list of my favorite guitarists, and Eddie Van Halen only made my honorable mention. But in the past few days, I had delved back into my collection of Van Halen records, and after doing that, I realized, yeah, I made a mistake. Jimi Hendrix was my number 1, and rightly so, but Eddie Van Halen should have been my number 2. He wasn't really knowledgeable musically, he didn't read music, he only played by ear, but the sounds that he made with the guitar put him on par with Hendrix. He cobbled together his Frankenstrat, multiple ones, and that gave him a distinctive sound. He was a brilliant guitarist. He changed the game when it came to his instrument. He was a true one of a kind. Will there be another one like him? I highly doubt it. He will be missed. On behalf of everyone who heard and loved the work of Edward Van Halen, thank you. And may eternal rest grant unto him, O Lord, and let the perpetual light shine upon him. May his soul rest in peace. That's all for now. For more music talk and vinyl shenanigans, go to fatbeardedvinylguy.com. You'll find links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you need more, you can catch me on Richard Tieman's Fan Show every Wednesday night. I'm currently celebrating Oztoberfest. You can check out this Wednesday's episode to join in the festivities. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up here and subscribe. Also, if you have some favorite Eddie Van Halen moments, not just Van Halen records, he's done some other things, leave them in the comments below. Not only will you be facilitating a discussion here, but you'll also prove to YouTube that I'm real and not a hologram. At least I'm sure I'm real. Until next time, take it easy and I'll catch you on the B-side.